And
That
I'm just
is
letting you know
solid.
right now, I don't see chat. So if
If they say something that I think is
go ahead.
appropriate to ask you, I always ask. But I mostly respond to my chat by typing because I think it's rude when people cut people off. The only exception is it's worth being rude if
Yeah.
somebody donates because like they gave me money, I can shout that out.
No, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And if you're on somebody's stream, like you got to accept that part. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Talking to
because
the
they stream for a reason.
about right about. I don't do it for the money.
Colts won today though, so 2-0. 2-0.
I forgot the football started up again. Is how are the Steelers doing? Do you know?
Um, I don't know. The Dolphins are like trash. Let me see the Steelers.
Oh, you
Steelers.
rotated.
Yeah, well, I had to Google something.
Oh,
Uh, Steelers 1-1.
1-1. I'll take it.
Yeah, 1-1.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
So it looks like you guys won last week.
Um, I, I moved from Michigan at the end of last year, and I thought the Lions were gonna fucking win the Super Bowl right after I moved. I would have been happy but pissed.
That's understandable.
Oh, like was I the thing
I
holding
was
them
in
back?
I was in San Francisco. I was in San Francisco one of the years that the 49ers were in it, and I was hoping they would win because I was well in the city. And well, that didn't happen. The Eagles won that year. Or was that the no? It wasn't the Eagles because they're in the same conference. The Chiefs.
Oh, yep. Let's see. There we go. All right, we're all good. So it's been a long time, buddy. So you've just been how long have you been gone for?
I can guarantee you, I've been gone about a year. I've been gone at least since August of last year.
Yeah,
And that means like gone with the exception of like I popped in like maybe two streams in that time, and then I popped in maybe like four VCs in Discord in that time. But
no
for the
shit.
most part, I've been away. Oh, I got divorced from my wife. So
Oh, buddy, meet
that
me in September. My wife left me in September.
that was a oh my wife didn't leave me. I left my wife.
Well, it's I'm sure you
No,
go through a lot of the same
it was a
stuff.
bad situation. Yeah, that's true.
So I feel you, and
But
I have done
all of
very
that's
few
over
streams
now.
since.
So
I've had a couple of spots. I
yeah,
think
kind
I talked to PF Jung, and I did some stuff just recently. Otherwise, it's just popping onto other people's.
yeah, and you know the amount of conflict that you're dealing with in the middle of a divorce, especially if it's contentious and not like agreed upon, then you know you don't want to get online and argue with more people when like your entire day is like built with conflict.
Oh, dude, I actually had no choice. It was the first time I ever asked for donos, um, because like half of my income was just gone, and then I got fired from my job
Oh
because I told them
shoot,
I needed a couple days. And my community came through. They kept me afloat for a couple weeks.
that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah,
The community that is community in action right there
I think it
for
helps that
real.
I've never asked for money before. I'm like, hey, look, I don't do this, but like, if you guys want to donate straight to my PayPal, I need food.
Yeah, yeah. I probably should have done something like that after I had my house fire. Um,
Yeah,
but I was
dude.
just like scrounging like as much cash as I possibly could of myself, just trying to figure it out. But when my house caught fire, I probably should have done some stream to try and like, hey, if you can help me out a little bit.
Even better,
But
reaching
I
out to other
ultimately
creators. What I
didn't.
should have done is reached out to other creators to do a fundraiser who are bigger than me.
Yeah, that would that you know those things kind of pop up when you're looking back at it. And I'm not really one that is great at asking for help. So asking for help in general doesn't come natural to me. So when it comes down to something like that, it would be really hard for me to reach out to other streamers like, hey, can you guys do a fundraiser for me? Like, my house
Yeah,
burnt down. Like, it would make me feel like I was incapable of doing anything.
I feel that. Um, yeah, I think that's probably I was probably too emotionally beat up to put myself out there to ask like that. But anyways, we're here to talk about
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk.
Yes, we are. Um,
Um,
do you have any opinions? I certainly do.
yeah, so I guess I'll just kind of lay out my baseline thoughts about all the stuff, and then we can go. We then you can respond to it. Does that sound good to you?
That works for me.
So first of all, I saw the video. I saw something on Twitter or something or Facebook, and I googled it, and I saw the video. I was immediately sad. And I talked to
I
what
saw
was
it
his
as
channel
well.
about it.
Yeah. Horrific.
I'm sorry that you had to see it. Yeah, truly, it was the worst killing I've ever seen that wasn't on foreign soil. Like that, I actually saw it. Like I've seen beheadings when I was a
I,
kid and
I,
stuff.
I've never seen footage. I've never seen footage of an execution like that outside of like ISIS or Al Qaeda releasing a beheading or something along those lines. I've seen footage like that, but I've never seen like live execution like that on American soil.
Yeah, like I've seen
But
videos of cops shooting somebody and they're on the ground, but you don't see like the blood and how visceral it was. Not to mention like 4K camera,
that
front
camera's
and
moving
center.
though. Like the cop's body cam is
That's what I
moving.
mean. That's what I
So it's like
mean.
very much so you see like a glimpse. Yeah,
Yeah, the Charlie Kirk thing was it was like front and center 4K. It was truly horrific, and it really I think I was up for like 3 hours like looking at stuff, and then I just went to bed. My energy left my body, and then the entire world went crazy. I think that the rhetoric on the right, now it's not something that like feeling wise I don't get it, but also like batshit crazy. The rhetoric on the left, um, people celebrating it, batshit crazy. However, I think that the mobilization to remove people from their jobs, most number one, getting rid of people out of the military is terrifying to me. That seems like a justification to purge the military, and that scares the shit out of me. That makes me conspiratorial, straight up. When I see them talking about removing people from the military, I'm like, that's way too far. That's too scary. I also think that people need to be a little bit more understanding and easy about memes and jokes. That's how the internet deals with everything bad that's ever happened since 4chan got created. That's just where we're at. If there was a meteor headed towards Earth, there'd be a bunch of memes about everybody dying. It doesn't make people bad people. I think that's how a lot of people cope. Sometimes jokes are mean. People like dark humor. It's not the same as celebrating the death. I think that the call for violence in response to the right is insane. They want to kill. They want to. Some people want to kill people. Some people want to hurt people. Some people want to fire people. But it's such a broad, sweeping net. When only one person did something, it's crazy to me. And I think that the right really needs to chill with their calls for violence. And I also think that if you're on the left, you just need to shut up, unless you're just making jokes or whatever. No celebrating, but jokes and memes are cool. Where are you at?
so um, I think I was at work when this started coming out, and so I didn't see the video until later that night. I just know kind of the right place to go, right person to ask for to see it, and I heard that it didn't come out that he was dead yet. So kind of my goal in seeing the video was to try and see kind of like how lethal the shot was. Like, is this a chance of Charlie Kirk actually dying? Because all the reporting is he's shot in critical condition, which always means that there's a chance of dying. But like, what was his chances of survival? Um, I saw the video. I did not rewatch the video. That is positively the worst video I've seen. probably outside of 9/11. Outside of 9/11, on American soil, it's probably the worst video that I've personally seen. So I'm not gonna try and make this a show me the worst video that you've ever seen. It's just the worst one that I've seen on American soil outside of 9/11. I certainly do not want bad videos sent to me on Discord or anything like that. That's not what I'm trying to say. But
Sure.
what I am trying to say is that it was a terrible video. Anyways, aside from that point, I immediately saw it as an attack on free speech, and immediately saw it as an assassination. It was a very targeted shot. It was there. This seemed to be an assassination, considering that only one bullet was fired. It seemed that they hit their target. It was a targeted shot. And then they decided that they were done. And so my fear kind of came out, and as he wasn't caught, and they said they had one suspect and then released the suspect. They said another suspect, released the suspect. My concern was that this guy was never going to get caught. And at the same time, before the suspect is even captured, we have, and I want to make this very clear from this point forward, is that I hold no allegiance. I'm neither right nor left. I literally follow my conscience when it comes to this, and it's been that way for quite a bit of time. So I hold no allegiance to
Talk
either
about your
side.
political journey. Last time we talked,
The
there was
left,
a whole stream about that.
well, I'm just doing a reminder because a lot of people think that I'm going to hold the right's, coattails. But the left, the celebration that he was dead, that he got what was coming for him, all of that is absolutely disgusting. And honestly, the people that were saying those things, I don't want them as friends. I don't want them as colleagues. Just the simple matter of fact that you can celebrate that another human being was taken in that way, especially in front of his wife and kids, like that it takes insane amount of you have to have like negative empathy, or negative sympathy to be able to make those kinds of comments about this. And then on the right, there's so many troubling statements, and Trump said it was an act of war. He said it was an act of war. Like,
Yeah.
if there's one ways to raise tensions, it's to call it an act of war. Like, that is absolutely insane rhetoric that is going to do nothing to calm the absolute confused nation as we're in this confusing time. Telling us this is an act of war is going to do nothing but just raise the tensions and make things worse. And as a matter of fact, I've talked to a couple of my veterans friends. Yeah, and I've talked to a couple of my veteran friends, and I feel this way too. But like, I feel like a switch is flipped. Like, I feel like I'm ready. I feel like when I was preparing to be never got deployed to Iraq and Kuwait, but I was going to. But it feels like when I was preparing to get deployed, it feels like the United States is at a brink, and this needs to turn around now, or I'm afraid that it's going to get bad. Like, this needs to turn around now. We have no further road to go down. It needs to turn around now. We can't go any further like this. We're already a divided country. We can't keep pushing the divide farther.
I agree.
But all in all, that's kind of where I'm at.
Oh, I thought because Lethe said that you might want to talk, and I was looking for somebody who disagreed with me more. In fact, when he said that, I was like, no, what, Sprout? I was like, I love Sprout. I don't want him to be. I thought his implication was that you were very extreme, and it kind of broke my heart. I was like, he's pretty reasonable. Even when I disagree with him, he's usually pretty reasonable, and it would have been insane for you to have the more extreme view. Yeah, I'm very scared. I think we got. So my optimistic side is we got 2 more weeks of this, and then it chills out. My pessimistic side is that we're never the same again after this, and that feels, unfortunately,
Well, I can tell
bit
you
more realistic.
Right now, I don't understand.
You're breaking up.
What people don't get out of this: if you assassinate someone, you amplify their voice. You take their voice and multiply it times at least not 100 million. So like the problem becomes people that do this. The outcome is almost certainly not to be. So the idea to even do this in the first place, it's beyond me. But like I just can't. I this should be a 9/12. This should be a time America is united behind one another, and this should be another 9/12 after 7. We should be united as a country. Why has an assassination on American soil? Why has that caused more division and less unification?
Unfortunately, I think that it is the extreme pushback and calls for violence. I just think that creates a snowball effect. Um, because I mean, up to it happening, nobody was really outright calling for violence on the other side. It was scarce. It wasn't loud. And now there's calls for violence.
It was dying down, I would say.
Sure, and even when you'd see it, though, it was... People didn't pile onto it before. And now... and not only that, too, it's the most... it's very ironic, too. The people that are calling for violence, saying this man was killed for sharing his opinions, and then they're literally calling for violence for other people sharing their opinions. Granted, very disrespectful and very poor taste. But it seems like this either I don't know how do you, I don't know how the snowball stops.
I don't know how it stops either, and that's kind of one of the problems. And it kind of leads into another thing that I saw say basically it's too late for me. My morals and my beliefs are already set in. 28. He said he was 31, but the same idea. My moral beliefs pretty set in because I'm at that age. But for the young people, which is who Charlie Kirk was really reaching out to those young people, like who do they go to now? The person that they were going to was assassinated, and the person on TikTok made the claim that they're going to move to Nick Fuentes. And, you know, I see that as a possibility, and that's a terrifying possibility. Like, it is terrifying that this act can cause whatever percentage of Gen Z to start following and listening to Nick Fuentes.
That is the worst outcome as far as where they go. Because they don't understand. I think if you're aware of him,
I'd rather him go
his game.
Steven Crowder. I'm not a fan of her, but
yeah, Steven Crowder.
You know, it was
Shapiro. What? If you've seen or if you are aware of Nick Fuentes, you know his game. Whenever something gets shaken up, he always tries to sneak in and steal an audience every chance he gets. He's like a cockroach. He looks for any crack and crevice he can find to crawl through and get as much as he can.
But it's terrifying because I see it as real. Like that it is real. I see it as a very real kids, and and it's terrifying. Like these people are going to be extremized because or radicalized because of this, you know, like because of the assassination. Then now we're going to have radicalized right have so much more of a foothold inside of Gen Z.
And I think Nick Fuentes
I don't know. There's a lot of parts about this that make me mad, and
continue. I think we have a delay.
Okay, so no, there's a lot of things about this that make me mad. Yeah, we definitely do. But I think there's a lot of things about this that make me mad. It's just I don't know. It's a combination of a bunch of different things. It's the reactions to it. It's what those reactions to it are leading to. It's ultimately where everything's headed, and everything's headed in a terrible direction. It doesn't seem like there's anyone that has anything leading toward direction. Erica Kirk, I think Erica Kirk might actually be leading towards the good direction, and I hope she is. But I everywhere else I'm looking to see kind of where things are leading, and outside of like the copy and paste blanket statements of we don't condone political violence from the elected leaders, out of that, there's not really been a good path for people.
Yeah, um, I don't disagree with that. Um, yeah, I think that Charlie Kirk is the closest that there is, but I think that unfortunately Nick Fuentes is the one who's trying the hardest to capitalize. Ben Shapiro is a bit more. I don't think he has Gen Z appeal at all. I think he's too. He's like the suit
No.
and tie version, you know. He picks who he talks to,
Yeah.
and they come to him. If, for better or worse, Charlie Kirk was the person who was going out there. And on that too, I don't know
Yeah. I mean,
if we're
yeah.
gonna have anybody doing that
For better or
now.
for worse, he's doing that. I think Ben said he might start doing that. Now, Erica Kirk said that she's not letting the movement die, and they're continuing the campus tour. So, presumably, they've got other events lined up. I don't know who's going to do the debating now that Charlie isn't going to be able to do the debating. But it seems as if they're going to try to continue as planned. But I really hope that works out for Erica. And my deepest condolences go out to Erica and her kids. Watching her statement was one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever done. And just hearing how his daughter was asking like where he was, and her response to that was he's on a work trip with Jesus to afford you a blueberry budget, like absolutely killed me. And it
I
might be
didn't hear
because
that.
I'm practically a stepdad now, but it absolutely killed me.
Oh yeah, I'm a dad, and I don't want to hear that. Not to minimize being a stepdad. I was just saying
Yeah,
I have a kid.
it just pulls on those heartstrings, and I don't know. You unless you're a parent or a step parent, then you're not gonna. It's really hard to understand kind of where
Yeah.
that pull is, but or yeah, it's hard to understand if you're not a parent. But I don't know. I'm scared for the world that I'm scared for where the America's turning. I really am because I've said this time and time again, and I mean it time and time again. There is not an enemy outside of America that is strong enough to bring us down. If America's going to fall, it's going to fall from within. And we are edging close.
Um, I'm curious what you think about this. Is maybe this might be a bit more divisive, but it's something that I've been pretty concerned about. Uh, there's a massive rewriting of Charlie Kirk's entire career and his positions going on right now too. Have you seen this?
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
rewriting? What do you mean by rewriting?
the rhetoric about like the things that he did, like if we're being completely honest, what Charlie Kirk did when he would go to places is he was he was setting up like debate things, and really it's just the most media effective way to do this. You're talking to people that are um, less studied, less prepared, and in order to get dunks on them. The objective isn't really to have open discourse. He's constantly cutting people off, using like sound bites to shut people down. This isn't like we're gonna bridge this gap here. This was never the aim, which is fine. There's a lot of people in this space that do it, but this wasn't a mission of like open-minded, open discourse. It's what most people do is basically media savvy blood sports.
I think there was definitely times that I think there was definitely times to where there was serious talks that Charlie Kirk had, and to where it got like serious discussions, and I'm sure those times existed, and not to take away from those times whatsoever. However, I do know he ran a YouTube channel, and any streamer is going to tell you this. Anyone who is an artist or kind of like anyone who produces and releases their own videos is going to tell you this, is that you know we want the reaction, we want
Yeah.
We want the conflict. We want the interesting points. We want a passionate discussion. That's what we want. That's what we make money off of. And so
People
I
want blood
think that
sports. They
there
do.
was a lot of like, yeah, they want blood sports and they pay for blood sports. And so I think what a lot of what I think there was definitely probably times in his campus tours to where it was, okay, we need to get more, we need to get more blood sports in. And so it's a lot more of, party lines and, giving out like the talking points and, doing a lot more what you were saying.
Yeah.
However, I don't think that it was all that. I come to believe that it was there was a good mixture of having actual good in-depth conversations. It's just not the ones that made the YouTube video.
Um, I guess part of my point is then when people did have good responses and he didn't win the debate, those weren't the things that would be on the YouTube video and all that. I guess I just there's the major rhetoric that I've been seeing is that he stood for open discussion that and it, they're really trying to sanctify a guy who was he's just I mean just a debate bro pundit really, and I find it really bizarre that people like if you loved him and supported him, like you can just talk about who he was instead of having to change it to be something that's a bit larger than life. And I personally find that to be really disrespectful. If when I die, I don't want people to make me out to be something that I wasn't. Just talk about who I was. I'm pretty chill with who I
Well,
am.
so I mean, Charlie said himself that when he dies, what he wants to be known most for is his courage and his faith. That's what he wants. That's what he wants to be known most for. And give him that, yes. Um, but I think that ultimately what happens is, especially during a time like this, um, like for example, I know many Americans, and it goes bipartisan, have a lot of respect for JFK. Uh,
Yep.
Democrats and Republicans both have a lot of respect for JFK. Had JFK not been assassinated, I don't think there'd be as much respect for both sides. And so I think that ultimately right now it's a it's a fishing story. You know what I mean? So the first time I catch a fish,
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
time I tell a story about catching the fish, it may be 6 inches long.
Yeah.
The next time I tell catching a fish, it may be 7 inches long. And by the time I'm at the end, I've got a foot long fish. And so I think that maybe what's happening in a very, very large scale is every time the story gets told, it gets told a little bit better. And so I think that's ultimately what's happening. I don't think that people are out here attempting to resurrect to try and like turn him into an angel of sorts. But I think it's ultimately a fish story to where every time it gets told, it's
Brother,
retold better because of the circumstances in which he died.
there are people calling for him to be literally a saint. I have a picture I'm looking at right now that is Abraham
What?
Lincoln, JFK, Martin Luther King Jr., Charlie Kirk, and Jesus, and it says all because of words.
I've not seen this. I've not seen these.
Five hundred
That's a
thousand
little.
views on that. This is what I'm talking about when I'm saying rewriting. Um, and I shared that and
But
just said you gotta
no
feel
one
a
can
little
live
bit
up to
silly.
that. That's the problem. But here's the problem though. No one can live up to that. So like if that's what you're saying about somebody, and somebody goes and looks at their material, like it can be picked apart pretty easily because no one can live up to these standards that people like apply. Um, and I felt that way as a job. I mean, I was a pastor of a church for a time, and not the lead pastor, but associate pastor. But um, like there's a there's an assumption, when it comes to being an associate pastor, that you don't sin that much, or that you sin less than the congregation, or basically that you're not struggling with the problems because you're preaching, et cetera, and so on.
Sure.
and it's hard to deal with that label. And I think that's kind of being maximized in his death, is that this label is kind of, and there's no one's going to fight against it. You know what I mean? No one's going to fight against um doing that, because, well, you don't speak ill of the dead. And I have no intention to do so. I'm just saying that it's no one can live up to that, and that's an impossible label to try and put on somebody.
So the broader point that I'm getting at and why I find it so disturbing, the rewriting, is that the rewriting of, if you want to call it a fish story, I just see it as a rewriting, and this reach for the sainthood of him only serves to embolden the people that are calling for violence. If this person is greater than they were, then the greater the need for their vengeance becomes. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay, so you're talking about the rewriting basically is pushing the value up. So it's the I'm
Yeah.
gonna make this really simple for my term. I'm gonna make this really simple in my terms here, just to make it just for my brain here. So what you're saying is the rewriting is basically taking um Charlie Kirk in a like as a second lieutenant, and then it's making him be a general. And and if there's completely different reactions of the United States if there a second lieutenant is lost in war versus if a general is lost in war. There's completely different reactions from the military. So I'm is that what you're saying? In a way, I'm trying to draw a parallel
Yeah.
to it as the best I can.
Yeah, another example is that somebody said that this person should be tried for killing the president of the United. Kirk was surely going to run and win a presidential election in the future. Therefore, they should be charged with the assassination of a president. And like this is when you keep rewriting, it keeps on
Well,
building and
that's just
building.
silly.
It
That's
will
just
the
silly.
punishment seems the desired punishment and the desire for vengeance gets stronger and stronger the more we keep on building up and building
But
up on
here's the
this.
thing: Utah's already going for the death penalty. This is already a capital case. Utah's. I mean, I don't know if they put the what
One death
needs to
isn't
be in
enough.
court yet, huh? It is with Charlie
It's
Kirk. You can
but
no 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 there it is. I've looked up Utah's laws. It is.
no,
If you try to take away so if you try to take away someone's civil rights by killing them, that is punishable by death in Utah.
no. What I'm saying is that for the kind of rhetoric that we're seeing and the kind of things that are being demanded by people that are the most mad and most vocal, it seems like one death can't be enough to satiate because it was too big of a death.
Oh, okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
You know
And we don't
that
just
so
have
that
one
rhetoric
killer.
that rhetoric is extremely dangerous, because then you're going to end up with, because then this doesn't stop, because then then
Yes.
Charlie Kirk has a quote, and I'm not going to say it perfectly because I don't have it memorized, but I saw it, something along the lines of the most like the best judge of your character is how people react when you die. That's how you really tell who somebody is. Of course, that's not going to be word for word, but it's something to that effect. And Charlie Kirk certainly wasn't that type of person. Charlie Kirk certainly wasn't someone who would want an all-out war. And so I think that I think both sides need to take a step back, but I really think the right needs to calm down. Like, grieve, yes. Mourn, yes. I don't know the words to get them to not not keep pushing this further. Um, I don't have the words to say, because I can't think of anything that I can say that would convince them to not keep pushing this further. And that's the frustrating part, is because I used to be a Republican. I used to be on the right. Anyone who's been on Twitch poll long enough knows that. But I don't have the words to say. I don't know what would even be convincing to them. But outside of Charlie Kirk, wouldn't that's not what Charlie Kirk would have wanted. They don't do it. It's just going to make it worse. That's how you get casualties on both sides, and that's how you turn this into a war. Like,
Right. and I think that Donald Trump calling for war, saying this is war, a lot of people are. It's as if the entire Democratic Party killed Charlie Kirk, despite the
Yeah,
fact that
and
there's no
it
evidence that the
immediately
person
paints
was
the
even left
left.
wing.
Well, I'll take and go at that one, but
There is some slight implication. Anything that we have that's hard evidence would suggest otherwise. There is some things that might lead
we
you to
don't have
believe
any
that
hard
they.
evidence. We don't have any hard evidence, but we have some leaks that have confirmed some lifestyle choices that would indicate potentially your political alignment.
Sure, but I would
I don't want
say
to dig that deep.
so would donating to Trump. I'm
I'm
just saying
neither going to go
there's
here
no.
nor there.
I'm just
Um,
saying that there's no evidence that points to it. There's stuff that you might be able to infer from. So like, it seems so far of a reach to then. I mean, obviously it's insane to say it's as if everybody on the left did it, but like, there's people that say that people there's a lot of rhetoric saying that anybody who was like against him essentially is responsible for it. And it's
yeah, and I think that's insane rhetoric too. I think that ultimately, especially when you're talking about like someone who's like Charlie Kirk, right? Charlie Kirk was scheduled to have a debate against Hasanabi, like 2 weeks after he was shot, around about 2 weeks after. Hasanabi and Charlie Kirk probably didn't have any goodwill towards each other.
sure.
They probably wouldn't have, cracked a couple jokes before the debate. I can't imagine that those two were particularly fond of one another. However, I don't think Hasanabi deserves any type of the blame when it comes to what happened to Charlie Kirk. I don't think Hasanabi was guilty in any type of way when it comes to that. And
As much as I hate
I
Hassan,
know there's
I
gonna be people
agree.
that say that he is. Yeah, like he's not guilty. And as a matter of fact, I saw an interview with him, and he said he's already received death threats for this. And so
Yeah,
like yo, chill. Like internet, please, can you chill? Like this is not helping. I don't. You're making a bad thing worse. You're taking a bad thing in a bad time, and you're making it worse. Um, I just really wish this was a time for unification. I really wish, like, what is it going to take for America to be unified again? What is it going to take? Because I certainly don't want another 9/11.
sure. I think this makes us look really weak on an international scale too.
It makes us look confused. And let's be honest, we are. We are a very confused nation right now. Let's just be honest about it.
Well, there's
And
also this, and at the
how are we
same
going
time,
to
we're
come out of
sending
this
troops into major
confusion?
cities. I think we're sort of in a
What?
we're sort of in a perfect storm. All this is happening at the same time that we're deploying troops into major U.S. cities. We're sort of in a perfect storm for this to get a lot worse at the drop of a dime.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's this can get a lot worse quick.
Yep.
And every time that there's an overreaction from the left, or every time there's an overreaction from the right, then ultimately it's going to push it further, and it's going to push it closer and closer. And um, it's awful. Like it is terrible. And please don't like think that I'm holding up anyone's coattails. I think the people that did post about Charlie Kirk and did get fired probably deserve to get fired. Um, because I don't know, if I owned a company and someone posted something along those lines on Facebook, it would just be the fact that you were celebrating the death of another human being that would cause me to not want you to be on my team. Not anything else besides that. If you celebrated someone's death, then
I
like
did one.
that would be that.
I celebrated David
What?
Rockefeller dying. But I can't imagine a more picturesque vision of evil
I can't. Let me put it this way: if you,
I think it was David. That was the guy who's like
I
almost
don't
up to.
know.
He's like 100, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say I wasn't. I'm not gonna say I wouldn't have. Like, if I lived at the time, I wouldn't have been happy that Hitler died.
Yeah.
Um, but these are like truly evil people,
Hitler
you
wouldn't have
know,
been
like
Hitler
these,
without
like
David Rockefeller.
right, like so. I'm just saying, like there's truly evil people in this world, and I'm not gonna go about naming them because then there's gonna be a whole thing about that. But
You can
there's
name David
truly evil
Rockefeller.
people in this world.
He is the
Okay, we can
Illuminati,
talk about
dude.
Rockefeller.
Just saying.
Then there's like
Charlie Kirk was
it's
not
just
David
there's
Rockefeller.
truly evil people. No, he wasn't. And anyone that's gonna try and make the comparison, I don't think anyone's gonna try and do that, but that'd be wild. I don't know, man. I honestly, I was just talking to Lethe, and I said that I needed to like I asked him if he was having any like group conversations about this, like panel conversations, and it was like the day after because cause I told him I was getting pissed, and he said that if he was doing something, he'd let me know. He said that you were doing something, and so then I'm like, that's when I hit you up, and uh, I just needed to get stuff off my chest, man. Like it's just it's been crazy, and I was done being quiet, you know. I posted something on Twitter saying basically that I'm growing tired of being quiet, and I really am. Like I'm considering coming back to streaming in some capacity right now. Of course, it's gonna be a little bit difficult because I now have a 16-month-old stepdaughter.
Right.
But at the same time, it is something that I'm considering and trying to figure out if I have the capacity to do that. But I'm growing tired of standing by, growing tired of being quiet. And like this is only pushing me further into thinking that you know people need a voice in the middle, a voice that's not going to be radicalized. And um, you know,
Yeah, Sprout. I think that
it's
you're a
it,
good
it's
person
hard for me to not
in the
respond.
space. You went from the right and you became a lot more left than you were, and I think that you're pretty good at seeing both sides.
That's the thing for me is like for me everything's been about logic. You know, I'm a very logical person, so if it doesn't like meet my threshold of logic, it makes it hard for me to believe something. And I want both sides of the story before I typically want both sides of the story before I really comment. There's times I'm sure you can pull up my Twitch career that I haven't waited for both sides. Again, as a streamer, you want some of the reactions, so sometimes I may not have waited for both sides before speaking. And I know I've done that a couple times. One to point out, like for sure, here was a drama between like way back when between a couple controversial figures that came up, and it was a pretty big drama, and everyone in Twitch poll reacted. Destiny came in as a lawyer. If you know, you know.
Oh,
Destiny
dude, it
came
was
in as a
so good.
lawyer for a specific individual. Yeah, yeah.
That
So
was
if you know, you
Destiny at its
know. I'm not going to bring
finest,
that back up, but if you know, you know.
dude.
What? Oh yes,
For
yes, it
real,
was.
my kid had seen so much Destiny at that point, and it's just background noise. My kid was invested in that. My kid was, I think she was like 13 or 14 at the time, and she's like, "When's the next video?" And the next video never came out. My kid was pissed.
Yeah, Destiny made me look like a fool on that one because of my stream before that. But it's so I've definitely made some mistakes as a streamer. I'm not saying I haven't, but I typically want like when I'm as a human being, I typically want to hear both sides and kind of meet that logic threshold, and that's just something that I've been in a way. And I grew up in Central Indiana. Like there's I don't think it gets much redder than you know Central Indiana. I grew up just south of Indianapolis. That's where I grew up, Johnson County.
I sent you a
Um,
DM. Respond in DMs.
what?
Don't read it out loud, but respond in
Okay,
DMs. I had a further question about
I'm
that.
not going to. I'm going to rotate. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I'm going to. But yeah, so it's. you know, I kind of grew up in a kind of a echo chamber. Everyone here
I
was
can see that.
Republican, so what I hear all the time. I heard a bunch of Republican talking points, and so when I first started streaming, all I did was listen to a bunch of Republicans. I didn't really listen to the left because I wasn't interested in hearing their opinions. I thought my beliefs were kind of grounded in where they were, and that kind of I knew the right way, kind of et cetera and so on. Through debating and through talking to some very intellectual people and having those actual intellectual discussions, I came to realize that, what I was saying was pretty far off from where I wanted to be. And, having that availability to actually discuss this in an open format has helped me realize that where my position should be as to where they were inside of an echo chamber.
That's fair. Sorry, I heard a sound behind me.
But, oh, you're good. But I won't keep you for too long. I I don't know. I just wanted to get it off my chest. I thought it was kind of weird that it was just gonna be me and you, and I'm like, well, I hope Elder isn't. I hope like Drazi isn't on the side of like the people on Facebook, celebrating everything. I'm like, that wasn't my interpretation of where Drazi would have been. But and
No,
then I'm I don't
I
know.
think
I thought,
everybody's
and then
lost
I'm
their
like,
mind.
I think we're gonna agree on most of things, but I'm like, okay, well, I'll go on anyways. We'll get it off my chest. We'll have a good discussion, and maybe once some people need to hear because I don't see really anyone else telling people to calm down. I just see it getting worse and worse. I just see people kind of pushing further and further in whatever direction they're pushing, and that's not how we unify. Like we have to come together as a country and one, mourn the loss of Charlie Kirk, and two, you know, unify to show the world that we are the United States of America. That we don't take threats to anybody kindly in a terroristic way. We don't take terrorists kindly. We don't take their sympathies kindly, and it's just upsetting to see that's not how we responded. It really is.
Yeah, um, in this conversation, I think I've realized maybe if something like this would have happened, but it was a foreign country, we might have seen the country united.
Yeah, and if he was killed in a foreign country, I think that would have happened. Um,
Because last time we've
he
really
wasn't
been
killed in a foreign country though,
was
and I
nine
think that
11.
might be the problem. I think that might be the problem is that on September 12th, 2001, we had a common enemy.
Yeah.
We had someone we could point at. You know, um, it's been made really fuzzy who that common enemy is right now. And I can tell you who that common enemy is. That common enemy is sitting behind bars, waiting to get tried for a capital case of murder. That's who the common enemy is. The common enemy is not the left. The common enemy is not the right. The common enemy is sitting in a jail cell, waiting to be tried for capital murder.
I agree with that. Well, assuming they get found guilty. I don't have the evidence, but yeah, assuming they get found guilty, I agree.
Well, right
It
now,
seems like
common
it.
enemy, you know, number one, and if he's found innocent, then maybe we need to look for common enemy number two. But right now we have a common enemy, and it is whoever it is that is guilty of firing the weapon. I believe that the person has already admitted to doing such, but
Oh, did they?
admissions are what they are.
That's
He's
true.
not guilty until he's found guilty by a court. So
I agree with
until
that.
he's found guilty by a court, he's innocent until proven guilty. I have some strong judgments on this case, and if I was asked to be on the jury, I'd have to say I can't sit on this jury because I have strong judgments on the case, and I wouldn't be able to neutralize myself enough to feel like I could have a neutral opinion.
That's
Um,
actually something I wondered a
but
lot. How is this person ever supposed to get a fair trial?
I don't think there's a fair trial in the world for this person, to be 100% honest.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think
something
there
that I've
is.
been thinking about. I think between yesterday and today, that's been on my mind quite a bit. And I'm really bothered at how quickly American standards are getting thrown away in the last few days across the board. It seems really crazy to me. And it's something I've echoed a lot over the last I don't know since it happened. Uh, I really miss old Republicans like super bad. I start thinking wistfully about George W. Bush. Um, it's just something I never thought I'd want. We don't have that at all anymore. There's nobody like that. The old Republican values that I used to scoff at and shit on. Like I think that's legitimately we need that a lot right now.
That's
We need a strong desire to
that's the
uphold the
old guard.
Constitution.
The problem is that's the old guard. Um, the right was pushed in such a way that Trump had redefined the party. The Republican Party
Yeah,
is not what it was before Trump, and every political analysis will tell you that the Republican Party is not what it was before Trump.
it's not even
Um,
close, dude.
and with Trump redefining the party, what?
It's not even close.
Yeah, and so with Trump redefining the party, this is, a, you know, we are left without that, and that's honestly where I found myself. Is kind of where I found myself is kind of like the old guard of the Republicans. Not in everything, but kind of in the grander scale. There's definitely some parts where I'm not with the old guard of the Republicans, but I'm kind of a unique case. I'm kind of spread out and kind of spread thin. That's kind of why I have a wild card tag on my name on X.
Yeah,
Is because a lot of people are surprised whenever I have a certain take on certain topics. But that's where I found myself mostly, and I really felt like the Republican Party left me behind, and I'm seeing more and more, and I really think they did. I think that I stayed pretty kind of close to where I kind of felt good, and I think the Republican Party said that that's not we're pushing further right, and I didn't, and they did, and I think that's what left me partyless.
yeah. Um, because I can say with absolute certainty, the old Republican Party would call for unity now. Um,
Yeah,
I I hated
they
George
would
W.
call for
Bush,
unity.
but this is the time we need to stand together as a nation, all that, and I just I'm I have been consistently getting more and more freaked out by MAGA, and it's mostly there's no predictability for me whatsoever. With the old party system, you knew what you were getting. Um, a lot of these people were really did care about Christian values. They really cared about the Constitution, so you knew what was coming. Lethe said your party was because you buy cheap
MAGA's a
beer.
beast that MAGA's a beast that's unpredictable. And I said this when Trump was first elected in 2016. I said that Trump was a grenade that the right threw into the political system because the right said, "Screw the political system. We're done playing this game. We don't want to play by we don't want to play by the rules while everybody else doesn't play by the rules. So we're going to throw this grenade into the political system that can do what he wants to do. It doesn't have to, has the money to where he doesn't have to try and get people to, kind of he can kind of bankroll it himself, and he doesn't have to listen to companies because he's rich enough to where they're not going to offer anything enticing.
Which
So
is wild because he didn't bankroll anything himself and he still needed that, but um, somehow still got to do it as though he did.
yeah, And ultimately, I think that his first presidency was decent. And then we got Joe Biden, which I don't even
We
know
don't
who
have
was
enough
running
time
the
for me to
country, to
respond
be
to
100%
that
honest.
first one.
And then now we reelected Trump. Honestly, I think Trump was better off being kingmaker. That was my personal opinion, is that Trump was better off being kingmaker of the Republican Party than running for president again, because he was already established basically as the kingmaker. It was basically whoever kissed Trump's ring that got to be president or got to run for president at the Republican convention outside
Yeah,
of Trump. And
I agree with that.
he ran again and got elected, which I saw coming as well because, well, Joe Biden didn't drop out early enough. He owes me dinner up in Chicago at some point.
With how
But
close the
the
2020 election was, it was crazy. I mean this with all the feminism in the world. It was crazy to put a woman against him again. It was crazy.
yeah, um, I think that and I don't think there's a woman that could have beat Trump at that point.
No, there's too many
To be
people that
100%
would
honest,
never.
I don't think there is. Yeah. So, but ultimately, that's kind of where we ended up. I called Joe Biden dropping out. I was very surprised he did it after the primaries. That was shocking to me. I thought he was going to drop out before primaries, but the bet I made was he was going to drop out before election. Uh, the and then Kamala being chosen, not elected, was another that that shocked me that
I
the
don't think it was
Democratic Party
actually bad.
decided, okay, screw primaries, I'm just gonna what?
I don't think that it was I don't think that it was an actually bad thing to do. I think that it was politically stupid to do.
I think what happened. Now, this is me going into conspiracy land, okay, Twitch. I'm going into conspiracy land and I'm very aware that I'm doing it. Okay? I think what happened is Kamala knew she didn't have the votes to be elected as the presidential nominee for the Democrats. So, but Biden had the votes. So they basically ran with Biden till after the Democratic nomination, the primaries were done. And so then when the primaries were done, then Biden could drop out, and then she could take the realm, and then basically say that, like, oh, I'm the vice president. Since he dropped out, my name automatically gets pushed to the top of the ballot, so it makes sense. I think it was a grander scheme because Kamala knew she didn't have the votes to be elected as a presidential nominee, and she wanted her turn.
The only thing that the only reason that I'm not on board with that is because there really wasn't a reason for Biden to drop out prior to that debate, and they really needed to see how the public was going to receive his performance during that debate in order to make
Oh,
that.
come on. You don't think well, I forget which amendment it is at the point, but you don't think that Kamala would have tried to use the constitutional amendment for the vice president taking over if the president isn't capable of, like, you don't think that she would have tried to do that during his presidency?
That's completely aside from the point that that's what people said when Biden before Biden got elected the first time. Biden beat Trump. The person who beat
That
him
is
before was the best
that is
person to
what
put up
people
against him.
that
Up
that
until
that
that
is
debate.
yeah, that debate really killed him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to rehash everything, because then eventually we're going to start rehashing Jan 6, and that's certainly something that I have no interest in rehashing. Um but man, it's a crazy political environment that we've landed ourselves in, and it appears that we're not getting any closer to the center, or we're not getting closer to unification. The parties keep going further and further. we end up with super radicalized left and super radicalized right, and then the people that have just been left in the center that are like, okay, neither of these options are good options. Like I don't like anything I see. And that's kind of where I find myself is I don't like anything I see.
To that point, I'm disappointed with the left and have been for a while. Insofar as I agree a lot, but for me, the big turning point was when Biden um, decided to add support to the was it deferred payments or forgiveness, the debt forgiveness on student loans. People were furious that he didn't cancel all of them. I'm like, this
Yes.
is a win. We won. This is a huge win for us, and you're mad. Like you, if I, it, the left, a lot
Yeah.
of the left has become, if I can't get everything I want all at once, I don't fucking want it. And that's not how any of this works. You're not fighting battles that can be won. You want to win the war all at once, or you don't want to fucking fight. And it is childish. It is childish and it is irresponsible. If your values are what you say that they are, then you're actively going against being able to attain them. And I can't support that. I want what I want,
Well,
and
the
I know the
Democrats
political process is a
they've still
process.
the Democrats have still failed to find any good candidates to run next year. I can't
I
think of
keep
any
saying this.
good candidates the Democrats have to put in
Well,
the race. I
2028.
can't think of any.
I agree. I was just talking about this with
Like, I think your
I'm not
best
sure who.
shot is Gavin Newsom, but I don't think
Yes,
he's a good choice.
he is the best we have, but he's too divisive.
Yeah, like I don't think he's a good choice. Like, who are the Democrats going to put up besides Gavin Newsom?
I don't know, and it says a lot too when people talked about Michelle Obama running. She doesn't have the background for it. That's crazy. In the last election, people are like,
Great,
"We
it's
want
someone
Michelle
else who's
Obama."
completely unqualified to run.
People are saying Oprah, and it shows
Unless you're
how
thinking,
bad the
unless you're
pickings
thinking
are.
Barack is gonna like secretly run from the bedroom, that Barack's gonna be like, no, sign this, don't do that. Like, unless you think that's what's gonna happen, she's got no experience and is not qualified.
Yeah, and coming from superstars like Bill Clinton and then Barack Obama, you'd think that we'd have somebody locked and loaded, and we have nothing. Like Gavin Newsom, 100% is the best face that we have, and he pisses people off on the left too. It's a bad choice.
California doesn't even want him. They tried to vote him out.
Um, I like
And if you
I
lose California as a Democrat, like if you lose California as a Democrat, then like I'm sorry, but what's happening? Because I don't know. That's
I and honestly, the only reason that he is the best choice that we have is because he matches shit talking energy. That's the only reason why he's a good choice.
yeah,
Which I gotta
because
say,
he can hold
as
up in a
somebody on the
debate.
left, which is what the debates are now, as somebody on the left, it's refreshing to hear somebody actually push back. Um, I like that
Yeah,
a lot.
I honestly, I would love to see a presidential debate of Gavin Newsom versus Trump or whoever's going to kiss Trump's ring, because I'm sure whoever's going to kiss Trump's ring is going to debate well. Um, my best guess is right now. My best guess at who the Republicans are going to choose to kind of follow Trump is Vance.
Yep.
That's my best guess as of right now. If not Vance, I'm thinking Trump Jr. I think
You think Trump will
DeSantis
try to run
shot
for a
his
third
chance
term?
at presidency to hell. Um, I don't think Trump's going to try to run for a third term. I think that would create a lot of divisiveness and I think that would draw a lot of voters away from it. But I definitely think like Trump Jr. might run. But I think Vance would still be the top choice. Ultimately, if I'm the Republican convention right now, as of the time of recording, if I was forced to choose right now, I would run Vance. I'd run Vance for 2028. And then I would wait for a Democrat to win, and then the next presidential cycle, I would run Trump Jr.
Trump Jr. is so fucking
So I
stupid.
wouldn't run Trump Jr. until a Democrat wins office. Then I'd run Trump Jr.
Yeah, I kind of want. I would kind of like to see Trump run for a third term against Gavin Newsom, just so I could see Gavin call him a pedophile on the debate stage and tell him to release the Epstein files.
Honestly, I think they would have. I think would have better. I think they would have a better. I think they would have had a better shot at the presidential election in 2024 if Gavin Newsom ran instead of Kamala Harris.
I think that any noteworthy
I think they would have stood a better shot.
Guy would have had a better shot. I don't think that America wants a woman president. I think there's too many people that don't want it. It's just too big of a handicap. We're not that progressive of a country.
At one point in my life, I would have. At one point in my life, and this is early in kind of my transformation, I would have voted Tulsi Gabbard if she was the Democratic nominee, as I would have voted Gabbard, at one point, but
I think
Gabbard's changed.
All she really had is like pro-military people. I think that's the only thing that would have been.
Yeah,
different.
but she was the most center you guys had.
Yeah, true.
But ultimately, like, the Republicans have a pretty clear path on where to go. Vance in 2028.
Yeah, Democrats are shooting in the
Democrats, you guys need to figure it out, because I can tell you right now, and I'm not saying that I'm a pollster. I'm not saying anything like that. All I'm saying is I predicted Joe Biden falling out or dropping out. I predicted Kamala Harris losing to Donald Trump. And I've predicted Donald Trump was going to win the election far before Joe Biden even dropped out. I'm making the prediction that the Republicans win the midterms. I think that Charlie Kirk's assassination has created enough movement to where the Republicans win the midterms, based off of this event causing a bunch of political activism.
I just got word in my chat that you're a confirmed
Democrats,
Russian agent.
Oh, awesome.
You can
Democrats
take your best
need
guess
to get it together. Best guess. Honestly, I wouldn't even know who called me a confirmed Russian agent. Best guess would probably be Lethe.
Yeah, it was Lethe.
Okay. If not, I was going brain dead.
He said the Kremlin told him so. Wait, that doesn't bode well for you either, Lethe. Yeah, I think the Democrats.
But no, the Democrats need to get it together, because I think the Democrats already lost the midterms. They need to get it together. They need to pull themselves together and work on finding yourself a decent presidential candidate, because start getting him or her publicity, because if they have zero publicity by the time it comes up,
Yeah, this is what
they're not really going to stand a shot.
This is what everybody thought the assassination on Trump would amount to.
Yes.
Because that really didn't end up swaying nearly as much as I think even the most conservative estimates had when it happened. And then this is nobody could have predicted. Yeah, I think that unless something crazy happens, which it could, especially at this point, I think that the Democrats are super cooked for the midterms.
Yeah. Barring anything crazy happening from time of recording to midterms, I think the Republicans have it in hand. I think the Democratic Party is going through a party crisis right now.
Yeah.
I think the Democratic Party is going through a party crisis right now.
Yeah,
and
you're so right when you
the
say that
Republicans
this
are
has
headed for one.
nothing. They have nothing right now.
Yeah, they don't. They have nothing. Because I wouldn't feel comfortable running Gavin Newsom, but what else do you have?
Yeah, we have Bernie. Like Bernie is the only person I could think of that has a shot. In
But
all
does he?
honesty,
He has a shot at the nomination. I'm not going to say he doesn't have a shot at the nomination. Does he have a shot at the general election?
better than Gavin Newsom does.
Okay, better than Gavin, yeah, but
Yeah,
I
Bernie
wouldn't say
is
his
really the
odds are
only thing we
great.
have. If
I would say
prior
Bernie would have a 25. I would say Bernie would have a 25% chance at winning the election.
prior to Charlie Kirk's assassination, I'd say he had a pretty good shot because Bernie did reach across more than most people did on the left.
Yeah, but I would say Bernie running in 2028. See, that's so far away from. It's so long from now. I give him a 25% shot at winning the presidency if he runs. Is
I don't think he runs
25%.
though. That's the thing. I don't think he runs, but
I don't think he
he's
runs
our
either.
only superstar.
I think 2020 was the last time he ran.
Yeah.
And I think that's the last time he will. Did he run in 2024?
Nope. But he is a Democratic superstar. He's the only one we got. He had people
I'm trying to
excited for
think of any
rallies.
Democratic congressmen that are coming to light. Like I'm thinking like Adam Schiff. No, that's not going to work out very well. Like I'm thinking of all the Democrats I can try and think of, and it's just
Pete Buttigieg,
yeah.
unfortunately, I don't think he can do it.
If I worked at the Democrat, uh, like if I worked at the DNC, I'd be scared right now.
Yeah.
I'd be pretty scared.
Do you know, unironically, do you know what the Democratic Party needs? We need a cool, young black dude who
They
can
needed
roast
Trump.
people.
Yep. Yep. That's they need a young Obama that can roast somebody. A young
Yes.
Obama that has lines. Like that's who they need, and has some sort of political experience.
Yeah. I really, the next election needs to be a Democrat straight up clowning on whoever the Republicans have. Because that's what it is now. I don't think we have real debates just because Trump's gone. I think that the format has shifted forever.
Uh, no, I don't think the format shifted forever. Because here's why I say this: we tend as a society to go back and forth between, like ultra we're mad at everybody to, oh, we no longer care because it's been that way for too long, then back to we care again. It kind of goes in that wave pattern. And I think that there's been so much cancel culture, so much you did this wrong 15 years ago and now we're taking your job because of it. I think there's been so much of that it's almost had a reverse effect to where it's okay, people don't care anymore. Like people don't care anymore what someone wrote 10 years ago on Twitter. Like it's been used too many times. And I think that we're kind of going back into a spot to where it's like, okay, no one cares about dirt slinging anymore. Or prior to Charlie Kirk, that is what I believed, is that no one cares about dirt swinging anymore, because like I don't think it's going to have as much of an effect as it did have.
I guess we'll have to see. I think I'm pretty black pilled on it.
Well, no, I'm kind of changing my opinion now that what happened, but
Oh, true.
I thought before that dirt slinging was kind of we were getting past it, I thought.
That's it's an impressive position to have as well, I think. But I'll let you have it.
And
I'm
listen, it may have been because it may have been because I went offline for a year. Okay, so that may have been why. I went
That's fair.
offline. I took care of myself and I put myself in a good position. So maybe it's because I haven't been as involved in politics. So it's very possible it's because I myself took a step back and touched some grass and said, things aren't that bad. But you know,
That might be the thing that did it for
I
you.
think
Yeah.
there comes a time to stop touching grass and to start, talking about politics, and because it is important. It is one of the strongest civic duties that we have inside the United States is to vote, and the other one is for to complete juror duty. That's another grand civic duty that we hold. So it's one of the big two civic duties, and you know there needs to be discourse. Without discourse, we land ourselves in echo chambers, and we land ourselves to where we have opinions that aren't right, but we think they're right because no one else around them is willing to challenge them. And that's a scary position to be in a spot where no one's willing to challenge you and just a bunch of yes men. Then you're going to start believing a lot of things that aren't true just because everyone's willing to just toe the line and to just believe whatever somebody says. And without discourse, I think that the whole system falls.
Uh, yeah, I don't disagree. Um, I think that discourse is unfortunately at an all-time low. It's just people saying shit.
And it's who can get the bigger dunk, you know.
Yeah,
And then once the dunk's done, it's over. It's like, oh, I dunked on you, you're wrong, I won, goodbye. Like, you know,
I get. I've never been that
I don't
guy.
even know what to say at this point. It's just
Oh, sorry. I've went through
I
some
can't
dunks
lie, I
before,
have been
but
that
I
guy.
don't. There's
I've been
very
that
few
guy.
times.
I used to be on a channel. I used to be on a different channel at the very beginning of my career, called the Republican Nation. It was a long time
Yep.
ago, but it was very much about getting that dunk, and you know then discarding the person. I got the dunk. What else do I need to do? So
Well, I'm glad to see that you're not doing that
it's just
anymore,
hard.
man. I've always saw you
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
quality interlocutor.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and
Absolutely.
I always try my best. I always try my best to be intellectually honest and to have an actual intellectual discussion, outside the ones that I'm trolling in, which can be somewhat hard because my sarcasm tends to run pretty dry. And
You do a
so
good
a lot
Trump
of
too.
times when I'm being sarcastic, it's kind of hard. What?
You do a good Trump too.
Oh. I don't even know why I started doing that, man. I just started like doing Trump imitations, and I think it was because it was driving people nuts. And so I would do a Trump imitation and drive people nuts. And the best part about it was the right would cheer it on, but so would the left. Because I'd make fun of Trump just enough for the right to find it funny still, but then the left would cheer it on because I'm making fun of Trump. And so
Yep.
it was a time when when I did the impression that both sides kind of enjoyed it because, well, they saw it from different angles.
I was confused because you would jump between it and you, and I didn't know who was doing it. I thought it was a different person. So I think it was like the second. It took like a full stream and a half for me to figure out that you were the one that was doing it. Really fucked me up.
That's hilarious. Oh, all right. Well, I have my fiance inside, so I'm gonna head back inside. But man, it was good to have this conversation. It was good to get some stuff off my chest, and I forgot how good this felt. How good this felt to talk to people, have this discourse. I'm gonna seriously consider about coming back. Obviously, I may take some time considering that I have a 16-month-old, but I'm gonna see what I can do. No promises on it, but I'm looking to see if I can. So
Well, it was very nice talking to you, Sprout. Keep me updated on if you get going again. I'd love to have you on again.
will do. I'll keep you in the loop. I tell you what, if I come back, I'll invite you on for my first stream back, and we can discuss whatever is relevant at that point in time.
Sounds good to me, man. All right, take care, buddy.
All right, have a good one,
You too.
Drazi.